Everyone has been pointing and laughing at Sony and Firewalk Studios over Concord. They really thought dropping a free beta was going to draw people into their DEI Overwatch clone, but it hasn't worked for them so far. And now, of course, we have the media trying their very best to defend this game and all of the really poor decisions Firewalk made. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I decided to test this game out myself, right? Free, open beta, why the heck not? And I told myself maybe this won't be as bad as the teasers and trailers looked. Maybe it won't be a Timu Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is much worse than I expected in every single way possible. This game has been in development for 6 whole years, yet it across the board does everything worse than every hero shooter I have ever played. The time to aim is awful. The time to kill is terrible. The character designs are cringeworthy. The fact that they thought putting pronouns in their bios was going to draw people in is absolutely ridiculous. Most of the hero abilities are just either very generic or don't quite work as well as other games. Like, you have characters that have these giant shields to defend the team, yet you can't shoot through those shields. So the only thing that they're actually useful for is pushing forward. But if you're not in a team that you're actually communicating with people, it ends up being useless and works against you, and it's a major disadvantage. Like, it just is terrible. And of course, they're trying their very best to market this game because it's a brand new IP. And I'm all for developers trying something new, and this is Firewalk's debut game, but it's going to be their first and last, judging by the performance they've given us. 6 whole years in development, and they came up with a game that honestly feels like it was made in a year and a half. But the actual terrible game aside, now of course we have the media trying to shill for this game, saying people should really give it a chance just because the beta's free. And they're also trying to spin it as the open beta numbers are actually, okay in a sense. Let's start off with this Push Square article. It says Concord's open beta had begun on July 18th on PS5 and PC, welcoming anyone and everyone into the hero shooter fray. By the way, I had to uninstall and reinstall this game 3 times on PC because it would not boot and I couldn't get it to work, so I had to play it on PS5. That also probably isn't helping if other people are also experiencing major glitches to the point where they can't even load the game. That could be another reason why the Steam numbers are a little bit low, as they want to paint it, which of course, to me, it's just absolute catastrophe, but they're going to spin it in any way possible. It says, as you can imagine, a lot of doom and gloom has spawned from such a realization, and many are wondering whether Concord's going to be dead on arrival once the full game drops. On the 23rd of August, it is going to be DOA. There is no possible way that you are going to have 500 people playing a free open beta, and then you're going to see the numbers shoot up to 10 or 20 or 30,000. I mean, Overwatch 2, which really is just Overwatch 1.5, consistently draws in 30 to 50,000 people on Steam, and that's on Steam, never mind actually through the Blizzard launcher and battle.net. So it will be interesting to see if they can muster up a few thousand on Steam, but I don't think we are going to see some major boost. If you can't draw people in for free, how do you expect to draw them in for 40 freaking dollars? It says, however, while there's no denying that the Steam numbers are somewhat concerning, we do think detractors are jumping the gun. After all, we don't know how well the early access beta performed on PS5, and there's the simple fact that getting into said beta required a pre-order on the platform of your choice. And this is true. We do not know how it did on PS5, but one would assume the numbers are not going to be, wildly different. Now, of course, when it comes to the media, I don't trust journalists. You probably shouldn't either. But maybe this is me just putting on my tinfoil hat. Yet something seems very strange about the Concord coverage. And it honestly seems like it is all very orchestrated because, as you can see in this Push Square article, they specifically use the term the Steam numbers are somewhat concerning. And Forbes had actually published an article saying the same exact thing. The Concord open beta numbers are somewhat concerning. It's like someone at Sony was talking to them and used this phrase, and now they've all clung to it. Now, obviously, maybe this is just a coincidence, but we are talking about, a PlayStation fan website and also Forbes, who very commonly shills for Sony. And of course, it's Paul Tassi. He's a massive SJW, but he's also using this phrase, which is just very odd to me that they suddenly are using it because they haven't really before. Typically, they either, completely defend something or they completely trash something. Yet with this, they're trying to defend it, but they really don't know how without looking like straight up shills. It says on the open beta launch day, Concord peaked at 2388 players on Steam. This is separate from the closed beta, which occurred a week ago, where you had to have actually have pre-ordered the game on Steam to play, which peaked at about a third of that. This beta is for everyone, and say this even triples as the weekend progresses. That's still under 10,000 players, and well, it has not moved. The all-time peak has been at that same 2,388 figure, and even now, a Sunday afternoon, you'd think this is when the most people through Saturday and Sunday are sitting down playing games. It's at 975, so they have not even topped 1,000 on Sunday yet, which just does not look good. And as you can see, there's hasn't even been a number close to the 2388. We got the highest at 1,633, but that's it. I mean, there is no way that you can spin this as some big positive, experience for Sony or Firewalk. Again, this is their first game and most likely to be their last. I don't even see this game surviving. I think 6 months after release, they'll completely drop it. They'll stop updating it. They'll stop creating new content. I mean, maybe that won't be the case. That would suck for the 10 people that appear to be buying it. But at the same time, it looks like they've already sunk so much money and time into this game just for it to be a failure. These devs are probably going to have to move on to another project. And no matter how much the media tries to spin this, it's not somewhat concerning. These numbers are catastrophic. They are not good by any stretch of the means. And these are not numbers that they could really come back from. They don't have anybody playing the game when it's free, never mind when they actually have to pay for it. So it will be interesting to see over the next few weeks leading up to launch if the media still continues to try to shill for this game and this team, or if they end up dropping it because they realize it is just a dead title that isn't going to have anyone playing it. I will be keeping my eye on the numbers for the rest of the day, and of course, the hype level leading up to release, which so far is in the negative. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.